So it has been confirmed by Star Wars themselves. Rey is coming back into the Star Wars cinematic universe. Now, this is something I really didn't expect because I felt like for the last couple of years, it kind of felt like Star Wars was trying to not necessarily bury the sequel trilogy, but trying to avoid getting into it. That's kind of how it felt like for me. But now they're not hiding from it anymore. Now they're actually bringing back Rey, who was, of course, the protagonist and the main face of that trilogy. Now, what do I think about this? Now, personally, I like Rey. Now, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The Force Awakens was the movie that got me to love Star Wars. Now, I know everyone's like, really? A sequel movie got you to love it? Well, you have to remember that, some of you probably are watching this for the first time, but I didn't grow up with Star Wars. I wasn't a little kid watching the Star Wars movies. I had nothing. I mean, I watched a little bit of Clone Wars, or yeah, I watched a little bit of that when I was younger, but besides that, I didn't really have much growing up when it came to Star Wars. I remember I had some people around me that would wear lightsabers and I have all the merchandise, but eventually I think it was around the time The Last Jedi came out, around 2017, no, 2018. I think I was like 16, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna give it a try. So I watched The Force Awakens. That was the first movie, and I really ended up loving that film. And till this day, I still love that film. It is one of my favorite Star Wars films. Uh, you know, but then I watched the original trilogy, then I got to the prequels, then I got to anything Star Wars related, live action wise, and I became a Star Wars fan. I mean, I even have this Obi-Wan Kenobi shirt that I'm wearing. I have a couple of Star Wars shirts. I even have a poster back there. But yeah, I ended up loving Star Wars, and that passion I have now came from watching Force Awakens. Now, I did not like The Last Jedi, or, well, the Last Jedi is what I would call a 50-50 film. A film that I like parts of it, but I also don't like a lot of it. I think that film was a misstep, but I also thought there were some things that I liked about the film. So overall, I would say it's I guess, the definition of mid. Rise of Skywalker came out, and that was my first theatrical Star Wars film I ever saw, and I hated that film. I hated that film. And the reason why I didn't like the sequels after Force Awakens is it felt like they had no plan. It felt like they just decided, oh, let's just do this. It was obvious that they never had a plan to begin with. And that's what my issue with what happened with Rey. I think Daisy Ridley was a phenomenal character, and I think she played her very well. But a good actress can't really do much if you give her a bad script. So I'm fine with her coming back. I know it's a divisive opinion. I know everyone's going to be, oh, Rey's coming back. Woke Star Wars. Oh, the Force is female. But I'm like, you know what? Daisy was great as a character. I think you got to get yourself a much better writing staff. But at the same time, however, I wonder why is it that Rey is coming back? What is the reason? Because I do think that, that sequel trilogy was a major misstep. I genuinely think the reason why Star Wars discourse is the way it is now began because of The Last Jedi. And now it's anytime anything Star Wars comes out, it's this big topic of, Star Wars somehow became politicized. I'm not even joking. Star Wars is literally politicized now, where anytime a Star Wars thing comes out, you might as well just be bringing in the presidents and having them debate because it's the same shit nowadays, right? and it's funny because it's the fans and whatever, and it's gone all berserk. And I feel like Rey was kind of one of the centers of that. And I'm actually surprised they've never gone with the Finn story. I genuinely think that if it was me at Lucasfilm, I think that I would have done a story with Finn. Finn becoming or having been a stormtrooper and becoming a Jedi. That story to me, I never understood why they never continued that story. I genuinely think that would have been one of the most beautiful, perfect stories the Star Wars universe could ever tell. But unfortunately, they've never gone that route. And I do hope we at least get to see Finn back in this, whatever this project is, with Daisy Ridley back. But overall, I'm excited for this news. The thing is, they're gonna need far better writers, because I do think Star Wars right now is struggling. Book of Boba Fett was mid. Obi-Wan Kenobi could have been so much better. Yeah, Andor was phenomenal. Andor was phenomenal. I haven't been watching season 3 of Mandalorian, but I've seen some people like it. Although that I'm seeing season 3 is very mixed. But the first two seasons were immensely popular. I think Star Wars can get back on track, but you need to get far better writers. You need a far better story, and you need to number one fire Kathleen Kennedy. She is not doing shit. How many times are we gonna have this conversation with Kathleen Kennedy? Every time. I just feel like Kathleen's era at Star Wars has not been great. There's been some good things like The Force Awakens, Rogue One, and Mandalorian, but there's also a lot of bad things that have come with her time period here at Lucasfilm. I genuinely think, and I do think she's gonna be gone because we're seeing how Bob Iger's changing the whole narrative around Star Wars right now, or not Star Wars, but around Disney. And we're seeing he's laying off some people. He's changing the structures, and I do think that Kathleen Kennedy's already had too many attempts. And I think by the time Indiana Jones: Dial of Destiny comes out, I think a month or two after that, I think it's gonna be announced that Kathleen's gone, and I do think that is best for everyone because I think Kathleen is a legendary producer that I think could be doing far better, and I just don't think her time at Star Wars is defines what she is as a producer. But no, overall, those are my thoughts. I'm excited to see Ray back, although I do find it a little weird, but it is what it is. You guys let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think about this? Do you agree, disagree? Whatever it is, let us know in the comment section down below. I'll see y'all in the next one. Ciao.